Good morning, everyone. My name is Suki. I'm from China and I'm a teacher from Guangdong University of Education in China. Today, I'm very pleased to present our study title Cultural Identity and Music Education in China. This research was carried out in collaboration with Professor Osvaldo Lorenzo Quiles from the University of Granada. Our research explores how Chinese primary music education negotiates between local musical traditions and multicultural education, and how this process shapes students' cultural identity. China is a multi-ethnic country with rich musical traditions that carry local history and cultural memory. Under globalization, Western and world music have increasingly entered classrooms, making music education highly multicultural. As a result, music education is no longer only aesthetic training, but also a seat of cultural identity construction. This study focuses on three questions. First, are schools adequately integrating diverse music resources into their curricula, particularly local folk and ethnic music? Second is the distribution of indigenous folk music and multicultural world music in approved textbooks appropriately balanced. And third, last one, do primary music teachers currently process the cultural understanding and the musical competency needed to teach both types of music effectively? These questions all lead to one core reason: how cultural identity is shaped through music education. In China, folk music is an important carrier of cultural identity. From folk songs to local opera and instrumental traditions, it reflects lived experience and cultural memory. Within the framework of intangible cultural heritage, its educational transmission has gained increasing importance. Some schools have introduced local music into classrooms, but these practices are still largely event-based rather than systematically integrated into curricula. Globalization has brought multicultural music into classrooms. Botany students' music arises. However, research shows that Western music is still overrepresented in textbooks, while local music is underrepresented. This creates an implicit imbalance. Cultural diversity is presented, but cultural balance is not achieved. Thus, the key reason is not simple adding more cultures, but balancing cultural relationships. So, my analysis identifies three system barriers. The first is the utilization of cultural resources. In many primary school, music lessons remain largely confined to singing from the approved textbook. ICH in the classroom program do exist in some regions, but they tend to function as showcase events. The second barrier is textbooks imbalance. Approved national or regional textbooks do not yet adequately represent local ethnic music or regional opera traditions. The third barrier is teacher competence. Many primary school music teachers received their professional training in Western music theory and performance. The many have had limited exposure to folk music traditions, their historical and cultural context. I should also note a fourth contextual factor. The competitive influence of popular media and digital platforms. Primary age children today are immersed in pop music, short video content, and streaming media. Traditional music education competes in this environment for students' emotional engagement and cultural imagination. In this context, music education can support cultural identity construction in three ways: experiential learning through active participation. Second, curriculum balance between local and global music. Third, teacher development in cultural understanding and pedagogy. The core of music education is not only learning music, but forming cultural identity. This study conducted through systematic literature analysis and critical examination of educational practice has identified three overarching findings. First, Chinese primary schools have not yet fully integrated diverse music courses into sustained coherent curricula. Second, textbook content remains imbalanced, with insufficient representation of local folk and ethnic music traditions. And third, there is a significant gap in teacher competency, particularly in folk music knowledge and culturally responsive pedagogy. Future reform should address curriculum, textbooks, and teacher development together. At its core, music education is a key mechanism for ongoing cultural identity formation. The above is the entirety of my research. Thank you very much for your attention.